Hi, year seven. Okay, so we're looking at some stuff that you may have done before, probably in year six, and that's perimeter and area. It takes into account some conversions as well, which we did earlier on in the unit, and probably you've done before. Okay, so let's have a look at perimeter. So perimeter is the distance around the outside of a shape. So the perimeter of this book would be that length, that length, that length, and that length, all put together. So 4 sides to a shape, you'd have to add up all 4 lengths. Now usually in a question like this, they don't give you all 4 lengths because some are the same. For instance, this is 10, this would also be 10. This is 6, and this also has to be 6. So if you're working out the perimeter of this shape, you need to remember that even if it is not marked, we must include it in the perimeter. So the perimeter of this shape would be adding up 10 plus 10 plus 6 plus 6 to give a total of 32. 32 what? Centimeters. Remember to include your unit in your answer. Okay, so that is perimeter, adding up the distance around the outside of a shape. Now, some shapes are more difficult than others. So this one is not a known shape, and we still have to find the perimeter of it. So there's missing lengths, distances here and here. Another issue with this one is that some of the lengths aren't in the same units. So we have 2 meters, 1 meter, 60 centimeters, 250 centimeters. So I have to convert them all to the same unit in order to add them. They must be the same unit to add. Okay, so I'm going to convert them all. Usually go smaller units, you don't have to, but I'm going to go the smaller unit, centimeters. So I know 1 meter is 100 centimeters up here, and 2 meters multiplied by 100 is 200 centimeters. I'll give you some notes on that as a document for conversions if you can't remember. Now the missing sides, here I'll go to first. So this length I need. I know that this bit up here is 60 centimeters. This bit is missing, but we know the total length must match this opposite side of 200 centimeters. So what's left here? Well, it has to be 140 centimeters. 200, take away that 60, gives 140. I will do the same thing for this length here, from here to here, which is unmarked, but I can find it because I know this total length is 250. Take away this 100, should leave me with 150 centimeters here. Now I have all the missing lengths, so I can add them up. 200, 100, 60, 150, 40, 250. Before I add, I'm going to check to see if I have the right number of sides. So I have 6 lengths here to add. Do I have 6 sides to this shape? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, I've included them all. So now I need to add. So you can use a calculator for this, but because it's not a numeracy test or a 6, I think it gives 900 centimeters. You can correct me if you think I'm wrong. Alright, so there's perimeters of a different type of shape with some sides missing and just a normal rectangle. We'll move on to area. So area has a formula when we're dealing with different shapes. We're just looking at rectangles today, just to start off with. And the area of a rectangle is its length multiplied by its width. I'm sure you've come across that before. So a simple example, if they're in the same unit, 8 centimeters, 4 centimeters, the area of this shape would be 8 multiplied by 4, which gives 32. 32 what? Well, centimeter times a centimeter will give centimeters squared. Because it's centimeters times centimeters. Same as x times x will give x squared. So my unit is centimeters squared. Alright, let's move on to a more difficult example. So this is a shape we're unfamiliar with. We're not sure what it is. But if I use my logical skills, I can turn it into 2 rectangles. We can split it anywhere I would like. If I put some dotted line here, maybe not the straightest, but you can get the idea, that, oh, it's a bit shiny, but okay, hopefully you can see that I split it up into rectangle 1 and rectangle 2. If I find those 2 areas separately and then add them together, that'll give me the total area. Okay, so what are my 2 areas? Well, area 1 is nice and easy. I have 265 centimeters, I have 90 centimeters, so they're both in centimeters already. Same units, so I can just multiply them. Length times width. Length times width. So 265 multiplied by 90. And that's going to give me area 1. Now we look at area 2, which is in meters. This one's in centimeters. Okay, so what am I going to need to multiply to get this area? Well, there's an issue. I only have from here to here is a distance of 1.4 meters, and I'm missing this last bit, which means I don't have the length of this side. I know it's 1.4 plus something. Well, I have this bit over here, which must be the same as this bit here. That's 90 centimeters. Using my conversions, divide by 100, that's 0.9 meters. So I know that this length here is 0.9. It's the same. So that entire length then is 2.3 meters. Now, when I multiply these two, these are in meters. It's going to give me meters squared. This is going to give me centimeters squared. So I need to change one of my units here. And because I've started this with centimeters squared, I'm going to make this centimeters as well to make it easier. So multiplying them both by 100, that's 200 centimeters, and that's 230 centimeters. So now, area 2, the width, 200 centimeters, the length, 230 centimeters with the 1.4 and the 0.9 added. Okay, so 200 multiplied by 230, and that's going to give me area 2. Using my calculator, which I should have had closer to me, 265 multiplied by 90, well that's 23,850. That's quite a large number. 23,850 for this area, and then 200 times 230, 46,000. So that's my 2 separate areas. I need to put them together. So adding them together, I get 69,850 centimeters squared. Now, perhaps it might be better to do it in meters and not have such a large number. And that's where your intuition will have to come in your logic skills, what unit you convert to. If I was to do that question again, and reflected on this answer, perhaps meters would have been a more useful answer. I think about this and then I go, is that realistic? 69,000 centimeters squared. Well, a centimeter squared is quite small. That's about a centimeter, and that's about a centimeter squared. You can't even see it. So small from there. So will there be absolutely loads of those in meters by meters? Well, yeah, there would be. This, remember, this distance here was 2 meters long. That's quite long. It's about the length of this whiteboard. So there's going to be loads and loads of little squares. Okay, so task for you guys to try and complete. Do that. Pick something in your house, get off the computer screen, and measure the perimeter of it. So perhaps a room would be a good example. Maybe the outside of your house. Maybe, I know, your garden. Pool would be quite an easy one to do. Try not to do a pool. Try and make it a bit more of a tricky shape. You don't have to. It can be a perfect rectangle if you want. Draw a sketch of it in your workbook. measure it. So if you have rulers, you can use rulers. If you have measuring tapes, you can use measuring tapes. If you don't have any of those, maybe you can just use your feet, and then maybe you can measure your feet against the ruler. That's up to you. You can think of, if you've not used a standard measurement, you need to explain how you did measure it. So if you use feet, go with feet. If you use steps, go with steps. Okay. Once you've measured the distance around the outside, after you've sketched it, you can calculate the perimeter. So you're going to measure or walk or use a measuring tape to measure the distance around the outside. That's for green or yellow. So that should be in your book. I'm going to look for that in your book on Friday in our second Google Hangout. So I'll explain more about that when we meet today on Google Hangouts. But in our second Google Hangout, you need to show me that. Show up your book. If it's on a piece of paper, that's okay. You can show it on a piece of paper, your sketch. So make it of a room, maybe of your house or something like that. If you do blue, I need you to do 2 follow-up questions. I need you to calculate the area of your space. So if you're doing blue and you want to challenge yourself, perhaps you could do the entire floor plan of a floor of your house, or maybe your garden, and then make it in a regular shape. Maybe there's some parts of your garden you don't want to include. Maybe a flower bed is not part of it, and that's cut out of the center. Can you find the area just based on adding up different rectangles, putting them together, and then creating a diagram that shows that, and then finding a realistic answer for the area? Because you need to comment on the accuracy of your answer then. How accurate is your answer? Is there any mistakes you might have made? And then think about how accurate it would need to be, so you can look at that. Okay, so I'll explain that a little bit more in the Google Hangout. If there's any further questions, you can email me, but that's the lesson for today on perimeter and area. Check the lesson notes that I'll upload as well for some help, and I'll be on ManageBack. Okay, good luck.